I've been traveling a ton for work, and tonight somebody's screaming inside. I'm really excited about today's episode. I sat down in the garage with my wife, Sarah. It's a longer video. I hope you enjoy it. My wife has so many good things to say, and I hope that you leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about the longer format.
He goes, "Why are you putting on
Check.
powder?" And I said, "Because I don't want to be shiny when this video goes viral."
I don't know. I cannot. I'll tell you what I told clients. I can't guarantee that it'll go viral, but I appreciate you doing this. Cheers.
Cheers.
So, we're giving this a go. We'll see how it goes. I appreciate you coming out to the garage.
Thanks.
It's a little hot, a little sweaty.
It's fine.
But a lot of people have been interested in how to start things, right? So I did that first video, and it was about starting. And so I wanted to ask you a couple of questions, and I only have 3 questions for you, like main ones, but then we can just kind of go wherever. But the first one is, you started this thing at school.
Oh, yeah.
And it was called the Lunch Bunch. So why don't you tell everybody, including me,
Okay.
what your job is, and then how you got the Lunch Bunch started.
Well, that caught me by surprise. I didn't think we were talking about the Lunch Bunch.
That's why I'm good at asking questions.
I guess.
I'm really nervous that all you can hear in these microphones is me breathing.
Well, then you're too close.
There's probably like a filter to filter that out, hopefully.
Stop. I work in the library at Stone Creek School in Roscoe, Illinois, and the summer before last, there'd been kind of a situation happening in our house that inspired me to inspire girls to be themselves and be true to themselves. And, when you're young, things just, you're being shaped when you're young.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had this idea for all the 3rd grade girls in my school that we would meet over lunchtime. And I wanted them to know that, besides their teacher, that there were other adults in the school that cared about them. And if they had a problem, they could seek us out once they knew our faces and things. And then, so we would meet over lunchtime and do this cool kind of puzzle craft thing and read a book and have lunch. And sorry, where is that? The dog was barking.
The dog has not been barking at all. And the second I hit record, the dog started barking, and the cricket.
Yeah.
If you didn't see last week's video, there was a cricket, and I can't find it, and it's right over in here. Yeah. So
I think it's because we're like Snow White.
Oh boy.
So back to this. So, and then of course, so that was every 3rd grade girl. So we did I think there were 8 or 7 classes.
So how many
last year?
How many girls total?
That kind of equaled, the first year we did it probably to about like 70 girls. But then the boys were kind of complaining, like, why did the girls get to do that?
Right.
So then in the new year, it was myself and my social worker at the school and also our principal who got in on the boys' stuff. So we kind of came up with a different curriculum for the boys and did kind of like a read a book, ate lunch, and then kind of did this cool thing where you answer questions and you throw a ball of yarn and then someone catches it and then it kind of like makes a web. And then it's just a cool learning lesson with different questions. And we were talking about sportsmanship, how to be a good sport in not just sports, but school and at home, and how to be a team player, that kind of thing. And then we ended by giving them these compasses and talking to them about like, you know, their intuition or that voice inside of them is like true north, and taught them how to read a compass. So it's kind of cool.
Nice.
So we're doing it again this year, and we have 2 more classes of third graders this year. So it's kind of a lot. We have like 9 classes total. So between now and Christmas, we'll do the 9 classes of girls. So that's essentially like around 90 girls, give or take. And then from January to April, we'll do all the boys, which is a similar amount. So it's awesome. And our social worker has an intern this year, so she's helping us too.
Nice.
Yeah, it's great.
So you get paid extra for that?
I get paid piles of money extra for that. No, I just get all of the satisfaction of spreading good cheer wherever I go.
So why do that? Like, most people go to work and they figure out, how can I do as little as possible? But you always like go the extra mile in anything and everything you do. But why do that in this situation?
Because I can. And because I enjoy motivating people, and it's like it's something I'm good at, and it's something that brings me joy and energy, and it's kind of one of those situations where I had an opportunity to do it, so why would I not do it? You know?
And what would you say to people that kind of have an idea? Because you know, I was kind of privy to some of the behind the scenes of all that, and it was like you just were like, I'm going to do this. And anybody that doesn't like it can suck it.
Was it like that?
Well, not quite as brash, but
I did feel really like driven to do that. Like I really felt like gosh, you know, I have an opportunity here to not just be like checking people's books in. Like I have an opportunity to be with these kids every day, which translates to all these families. And that's just always been in me, to want to encourage people and push people towards good things, you know? And so I think I'm thankful because I have, you know, the principal at my school is a really good guy, and he trusted me to do that. And I knew that he would be willing to just let me try something, you know? And so, you know, that was great because I knew that if it was a dud, then that's fine. We don't have to do it again. But it's super rewarding. It makes a job that feels maybe just like not as rewarding at times. It makes it really rewarding.
Yeah, because like right now it's unseasonably warm. You're working in a school without air. Well, the library has air, but
the library has air that sort of works. Yeah, I mean, it's working in a school is very taxing, and teachers everywhere are heroes.
Yeah,
they are the heroes of the world.
Yeah.
When all of you are like so thrilled to wave goodbye to all your children in the fall, all of us teachers have been with our own children all summer, and then we go be with all of everyone else's children.
That's why teachers are so good at partying.
It's actually probably pretty true. We can just like go for it. Yeah.
I've been getting a lot of messages from people that want to start things
Yes.
but just haven't.
Yeah.
Or I get messages from people that are like, why are you doing this? Like, why are you taking the time? And
Yeah.
I think you and I have talked a lot about you just can't not do it.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say to people that, might have an inkling for something, or they're paralyzed by perfection, or they're caught in their own head about getting started? Because you've been a huge part of helping me get this going and have, listened to my crazy rants and talk about doing stuff for a very long time. So,
Yeah.
so what would you say is like the key to getting something started like that?
Well, you need a plan. You need to have, even if you don't have every single detail measured out, you do need to kind of know where you're going a little bit. Now, I'm thinking, I'm speaking just from experience from this thing that takes a lot of planning, and you have to have a schedule for it, and you have to know the timing of things and how you're going to do it. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, it takes a lot of planning for it to work right and for it to not be a burden on the teachers or the schedule that's already in place at school, So for this particular thing, if I wanted to do it and it to be effective and something that, I wanted it to be easy for everyone. I didn't want the teachers or anyone to have to, do anything with it because they have a million things to do anyways. So I just knew that I had to take care of every single detail, So I think you do need to have a plan in place. But then you also have to just, if you have a thing inside of you that won't let you go, then it's there for a reason and you just have to do it, and you don't have to get yourself all hemmed in with like, I don't know how long I'll do this. Maybe I'll do it 1 more year or 10 more years, or I don't know. I'm not even really thinking about that. I'm just.
So do you think that sometimes people have a tendency to overplan, and then if it doesn't go exactly how it's planned, they get derailed?
Maybe. I mean, you have to be flexible, and I think that's part of being a problem solver. Is that you got to go with it. Things are not perfect ever, and you have to adapt, and you have to be willing to be okay if it's not the way you thought it was going to be or envisioned, So.
One of the things that people may or may not know about you is that you're part psychic. But there's you've learned that there's a dare I say clinical term?
Well, I have really good intuition.
You're psychic.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
I can read people's body language.
What's the term that
yes, our
Christina talks about?
Yeah, our dear counselor Christina, an empath.
Empath, that's right. Mm-hmm. What exactly is that?
Well, I'll explain it in my words because I'm sure I'll explain it sort of wrong, and then someone will be like, "That's not what it is."
Sure.
But,
that's what the internet is. Everyone telling everyone else that they're wrong.
Right.
So,
for me, I'll give you an example. Like if we are out to dinner and the waitress comes up and this is a bad example. You know how when you walk into a room and you can feel that like maybe someone just had a fight or something weird just happened there, or maybe something really happy was going on, and the energy that kind of surrounds those things. I think when you are an empath, you pick up on those energies, which sounds really, but it's true.
Is that like, I don't know, like a psychic?
No, I don't think it's a psychic. I think it's just when you're really in tune with your intuition, you're really good at reading situations. You also, like, for instance, during the day at school, like there are times when there might be a little kid that's really upset about something and will just tell me about it randomly during their library time. And that's something that I'll just be thinking about. And it's almost like it gets stuck on me, whether it's something really good or something really sad. And so I've had to learn in those kinds of situations with friends or family or even at school or whatever, like I can't let other people's good, positive or negative energies stick to me, because they do. When you're an empath, they kind of hang on you.
Yeah, but I think you too.
So there's several layers to it,
Yeah, and you do a good job of, though, being bold and asking somebody.
I am a questioner.
Yeah.
I love to ask questions. And sometimes I delight in asking people uncomfortable questions.
Yeah, I tell all my friends, like, if you meet my wife, it may end in some sort of counseling session.
Maybe. People do love to tell me things.
Fair warning. But yeah,
yes,
not just friends, like strangers at Walmart.
I know it gets weird sometimes. Sometimes I just have to say, Sarah, don't make eye contact with anyone in here. Just get your stuff and get out. That's all the time.
I keep trying to get you to wear headphones, because then nobody will talk to you.
I just feel like that is rude.
I am rude then.
Because when you go somewhere, shouldn't you just be smiling nicely to people?
No.
Around you?
Well,
spreading love and good cheer wherever you go.
If I'm shopping, I will wear my headset. Like, especially...
I can't even imagine doing that.
But especially if I go to Woodman's, because, excuse my French, fuck the bricks on the floor at Woodman's at the grocery store. It's like a sensory overload, and I need headphones to calm.
Well, that is ridiculous, because it's not like you're doing all the grocery shopping at Woodman's. You're getting like 4 things.
This is like
go there
once a year when I need
all your
water, weird water.
Anyhow, it is a sensory thing there for sure.
It is. Are there times where you don't act on that, and then you kind of be like, oh man, I should have said something?
Yes. A lot.
Like all the time, or?
No, just like some of the times. And I have to say to myself, just butt out, Sarah, just stay out of it. Because sometimes I just want to ask some questions.
Right.
But then it's like, it could turn into like a long conversation, or like it's kind of nosy. So
what do you do? You and I have talked about sometimes that can be a lot. Like, how do you guard yourself? From bringing it home, or because you do a good job of that.
Thanks. It's sweet of you. I think that I really it is like my superpower. Like I'm a really good listener, and I know how to ask the right questions, because I truly genuinely am interested in other people and how they are and what they're going through and all those kinds of things. But sometimes I will listen at my own expense when I should just be worrying about myself. And you know what I mean? Like, I am overly, I really just care about others, and it's just my personality, and it's just the way I was made, But there are times when I just need to just do my things, like I'm thinking at work, or even just anywhere, But I do really love, like, I get like Like, I really enjoy that. That's super rewarding and fulfilling to me to have a really good, solid, deep conversation with someone. That's like one of like the best things ever to me in my whole life. I love it.
Absolutely. And I think that I personally have learned how to be much better at that because I'm naturally pretty stoic and just like, you know, probably narcissistic and self-centered and don't really
Oh,
care about what's going on. But, you know, I try to, when I have that intuition, like
yeah.
at work or something, and like I told somebody the other day, I was like, I really think you're a really integral part of the team and I really like having you around.
Yeah.
And it was so hard for me to say that, but I could just sense that they needed like that
Yeah.
word of encouragement. And it was like it stopped them in their tracks because they were like,
Yeah.
what? You know?
Well, it's not like you're lying. You're telling
No,
someone
no.
the truth,
Yeah.
you know? I think that's what's missing from, I think that's why people have no joy in their lives, to be really honest with you. I think that people are, for some people, they just are closed off to others. And I think that that's where we find community and that's where we find joy and peace and like that really good connection with people that makes life worth living when you are willing to go there with someone, you know? And even if it's for like 2 minutes, it doesn't have to be a big thing, you know?
And for me, that's been a huge, like another tool in my toolbox to fight depression, you know, is to be
Right.
like open and to start conversations. Cause as my friend Josh the other day, he said, depression wants you to like be an introvert. Depression
Yeah.
wants you to not talk to a stranger. And when there are times I don't want to talk to strangers, but
Yeah.
sometimes at work or whatever, I go out of my way to ask how people are doing and how they're feeling. And it's amazing that not only the opportunities that it opens up, but then there's like this connection that happens that
Yeah.
I agree. I think it's missing,
Yeah.
you know?
I do think that it's really important to to trust your intuition. There's times when like as much of a probably an extroverted person I am, like there's times when like I also need to recharge and make myself be introverted as you know to like don't you don't need to hear what else is going on with someone today. You need to just do your job and come home and do the dishes and make dinner and watch TV. Like you have to recharge yourself too, but you have to know when, like, you really have to listen to yourself,
Mm-hmm.
where it'd be more of a challenge, where that comes super naturally and easily to me. That's more of like, you have to like push yourself to that, where I have to push myself to not do that,
Yeah.
where
I think
I know.
I definitely think that for me, I for sure used to have to push myself. Like really, it was a real effort for me to even just
Yeah.
go to a party
Yeah.
and be like, I'm interested in you.
Yeah.
And I just started practicing and,
Yeah.
and it kind of now just is way more natural.
Yeah.
But it for sure wasn't,
Yeah.
So one of the things that I think that you have a unique perspective that most people don't have is we have now in December, we'll be married 19 years. Cheers to that.
Yeah. Cheers. It's a long time.
It's a very long time. Sometimes being married to someone who's a little creative can be challenging.
Yeah. And for someone who's creative, who's married to someone who has different gifts, can also be challenging.
Yeah, but you're very creative too. I should,
Yeah.
it's almost like married to a creative professional, right? Because I have to
Sure.
create on demand for my job.
Yeah.
And that can be taxing, right?
Yeah.
And you have always been like, even for stuff like this, you're a big part of why I'm out here making a fool of myself and putting myself out there, because you've always were like, yeah, go for it. Yeah, go
Yeah.
for it. What would you say are the biggest challenges? Because I think a lot of people can maybe relate to that. But also it's like, I think people will be like, oh, that's just normal. It's just
Yeah.
par for the course. When you're
Yeah.
doing things that, like what I do for a living, is not necessarily normal.
Yeah.
And so it has its own unique set of challenges.
Yeah. Probably over the years, when, even when we didn't have kids, but especially now that we do have kids, and of course it's different now that they're older, but I've always had to be really, really flexible, and that does not come naturally to me. Like, I really like to have like a plan in place. I like to know what's going on and when it's going on. I like to have things to look forward to. Like, I like to know, like, oh, it's Monday and Saturday we're doing this, and like I just like to have like that thing to anticipate. And that's really sometimes impossible, because you might have a shoot that comes up, or you might have a phone call that comes up, or you might have just a deadline that has to be met that either you didn't realize, or it just appears, or maybe you forgot about, or so I feel like over the years that's probably been one of the more challenging things for me personally,
What
just
about
having to be super flexible.
communication?
You have really grown in that. When I think about from when we were first married, or when you were, like a few years in, when you were really doing that for your job all the time, then like, I think we've really had to learn how to be like, almost run things like a business meeting. Like sometimes,
Yeah.
like, okay, in the morning, what's the deal for today? Or what's the deal for the week? Or just kind of putting it out there, And I think too, I just feel like that's grown over the years, the communication piece. Not taking things personal. You know what I mean? Like, it's really hard.
What's something recently that you've read or that you've been inspired by? Totally shifting gears.
Yeah. I've been reading some Mary Oliver poetry that's super inspirational to just be in the moment. I have started my knitting back up again, which I love to do. I love to work with my hands. I love to create that way. I like to be able to see, oh, I've like accomplished something by making this thing, and someone can use it, So that's really inspirational to me. Like, I love to be able to, I just love the fact that I can make stuff with my own hands.
We talk a lot about, specifically, I'll pick on Audrey, our youngest daughter. I sort of started saying she can't not make.
Yeah.
How have you fostered, that creativity in her? And then my follow-up question to that fostering is probably a nice way of saying it, is how do you have patience?
How do we not strangle her to death?
Right. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, there's paint on the carpet. There's,
Yeah.
like, on the floor over here is probably $50-$60 worth of plywood that I bought for a project, and she is making a dollhouse without asking.
Yeah, like a diorama.
I'm like,
Yeah.
creativity is awesome, but not with my tools. And so you have to have this like immense patience, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to squash it because it's,
Yeah.
Obviously coming from somewhere.
Right.
And you want to foster it and fan it, but it also is a giant pain in the ass.
Yeah, it is. Do you remember when the boys were tiny and they would take everything apart? Like everything. Like everything apart.
We would buy them Star Wars figures and they just take the heads off and we could never find the heads.
Yeah. Or they would just change body parts, or they would like take apart, like Nerf guns.
Yeah.
Or they would take apart the VCR.
We used to do that. We used to take G.I. Joe guys and we would take them apart and make our own characters, like interchange the body parts. So I couldn't be mad.
Huh, interesting. Yeah. Well, growing up, we just didn't do that stuff.
Yeah.
Like at my house. Now, we did have a sign shop growing up. Mm-hmm. Like my grandpa had a sign shop and my mom worked, everyone in the family worked there. So like I had access to like paint and boards and weird stuff that I could, do creative stuff with. But we didn't do a lot of that probably like in our home, where I feel like you and I early on were just like okay with a certain level of like chaos and mess. And because I think that we identified it earlier as like no one's trying to like break everything. No one's trying to cause, chaos. It's just so in them to like problem solve and figure stuff out with their hands, and doing that by taking it apart and putting it back together. And with Audrey, like that is really hard some days. Like that's really hard because she lives in this level of chaos and dirtiness and like mess that is like totally out of my comfort zone at times, But even from when she was tiny, it's just like been so obvious that that's just part of like who she is. And she's not like trying to be a jerk. It's just in her, But I think that's part of like being flexible. And like when you see something that's like really pure like that, like you don't want to like mess that up, So you just have to kind of suck it up, whatever like weird, tendencies I have to want everything to be a certain way. It's like, well, maybe someday, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no. And it's a challenge.
Like it is what it is,
Sometimes it's like a weird challenge for me to not want to like say, no, do it this way. And what I've had to learn as a dad is like Owen and is learning how to edit video and stuff.
Yeah.
And then Max is taking some photography classes, and the temptation is to kind of smother them and be like, do it this way because I know and because I'm awesome
you do know
at this. But something Owen was doing a video. Was it this weekend? Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was doing a video for school, and I just let them explore, because had I not had those opportunities to just explore and fail and spill paint and have some crappy videos and crappy graphic design, and I was fortunate enough to have people that just let me explore, and that's how I found my voice. And I think that you do a great job, especially with Audrey, to let her explore and let her find her voice. And it's interesting now, like all the neighborhood kids come over and she gets them all making all these things, and it's really
pretty
cool and fun to watch, because then these kids are exploring where I don't know, maybe they can make a mess out here in the garage.
But another good thing about it, now that they're getting older, is that whole thing of like taking responsibility. Like you can do that, but then you have to like clean up. You can't leave things all in total chaos because this is a space that we all share, you know?
Yeah.
So even in that, it's like it's really good, like learning lessons to be like, you can do that. You can do whatever you want as long as you clean up and be respectful of other people's stuff and,
Yeah. Yeah.
like all your tools and everything,
Yeah.
So I guess I've just always thought, life is going to try to smother her. So I'm not going to do it. Like just create and do whatever, and let that creativeness flow because people are not always going to understand that. And she won't always have the opportunity. So I want her to be really comfortable with it so that she can be like, no, this is what I do,
And isn't that in some ways, I think, what we all as adults like lost?
Yeah, because we weren't allowed, for many of us. I mean, I feel like I grew up pretty lucky in a pretty artistic family to be able to be confident and, and trying stuff, like when I was like 12, I was working at the sign shop and painting signs and learning gold leaf and how to like silk screen t-shirts. And it was just all my aunts and uncles showing me how to do it and encouraging me. And that's not normal. Most kids don't get to do that. But, it just was like, oh, it was normal. It was natural, And so I just feel like not everyone gets that, I know like people don't always like let their kids use tools or even use like scissors.
Oh,
I'm
man.
like,
Yeah.
gee whiz,
Well, my tool bench, it pisses me off to no end
It's
when
pretty bad,
the kids use my tools, but I kind of am like, So I've been, instead of being worried about it, I've been just buying shitty tools from Harbor Freight and then leaving those out
Yeah.
for them to, I don't really care if they break them because they cost $1.
But also they have to put stuff away and
Oh, I still rage out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where's my drill?
Yeah.
But you got to let them fail and mess
Yeah.
up and cut their hands and
weird stuff.
And I think it's all part of exploring. And I think personally, I think that they'll do better in their job someday because they've learned how to explore and they've learned how to experiment.
Yes.
And
which is really problem solving.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one thing, even for as different as you and I are, that is one thing that we're really on the same page about, is being okay with them like exploring and trying new things. And, like we've always been pretty laid back about that. Probably too laid back at times, but you live and learn.
Well, I just want to say thanks for coming out to the garage.
Oh gosh. It was my pleasure. I loved it.
Trying to keep it a little short, trying to figure out how are we doing long?
How long should these be? Yeah.
Short, so leave like a comment and let us know how you feel about the format.
Yeah, smash that like button.
Oh, is that what the kids say? Smash it?
I think they do.
Smash it?
Or I think they say like ring that bell.
Oh, where
or
can
subscribe.
Where can we find you on the social medias?
What?
Where can people follow you?
You can follow me on Instagram at Sarah Tyson 1.
Is it Sarah Tyson 1 or is it Sarah K Tyson? We need to be better at this.
No, I think it's Sarah Tyson 1.
Okay. There's another Sarah Tyson.
Yeah. Weird. Yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, that's all I'm doing. I don't do any tweetering.
No Snap Twitter?
Or no Snap Twitters. Nothing like that. No. No, that's not where I'm at these days.
Well, again, thank you for coming out, and I look forward to you coming back to the garage when I can't find anybody else to do it.
Oh, I can't wait. It'll be all my pleasure.
That was good.
That was fun.
Thanks.
Yeah, that was good. How long did we talk?
It was like 30 minutes. Okay, so this was an experiment in some longer format, and so I really do want to hear back from you. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed editing it. I edited this on the plane on the way back from Atlanta last night, and it's kind of fun. So let me know what you think. Hit that like button, subscribe, and we'll see you next week.